Thank you all for being here. I'm very happy to present how you can go from mindless scrolling on Instagram to meaningful discoveries on Instagram. I'm going to show you how you can find simple security and privacy vulnerabilities on the Instagram app. And the best part is you don't need any tools, you don't need any setup, not even Burp Suite, just the app on your phone or on the website, and you can find these bugs. And we'll go through some real world examples of this being reported on Meta's Bug Bounty program. Before we get into it, let me tell you a little bit about myself. So I'm Farah Hawa. I'm a security analyst on Meta's Bug Bounty program. I'm based in London. Previously, I was working for Bugcrowd, which is a bug bounty platform. I was working as the team lead for their security operations team based out of India. I hold a bachelor's degree in mass media. So you can tell that I wasn't really prepared to be in the cybersecurity industry. I kind of happened to just fall into it. And because of that, I love creating content about cybersecurity on YouTube, Instagram, X, and LinkedIn. If you search my name on any of these platforms, you'll be able to find me and my content. I love helping people, especially those that come from non-traditional backgrounds, break into cybersecurity and build a career in it. Outside of work, I like Pilates and I'm a fitness enthusiast and I love hacking my life using tech. Let's talk about the agenda for today. So I will start today's presentation with a quick introduction to Meta's Bug Bounty program. Then I will explain the attack surface that exists on Instagram and some of its sister apps. Once we understand the privacy landscape on Instagram, we can dive straight into 4 actual bugs that were reported through Meta's Bug Bounty program that are about Instagram. All 4 of them, like I said before, have one thing in common. They did not need any tools. They did not need even Burp Suite to be found. All you need is the app on your phone. Finally, we'll cover some of the benefits that are provided by Meta's Bug Bounty program. And at the end, we have a Dyna Initiative exclusive bonus for anyone that's interested in hacking on Meta. So let's go over some high-level details about the program. The general concept of the Bug Bounty program is very simple. You try to hack us, and if you succeed, we're going to pay you. For us at Meta, this approach serves as the final line of defense to catch any vulnerabilities that are missed by our internal tooling and our processes. This is to help us protect all the billions of people that use our services from attackers who would use these vulnerabilities for harm. From that point, once we receive a report, we leverage each finding to improve our framework in order to prevent that type of issue from occurring again, and improving our automated detection as well to find these bugs. Another interesting thing about the Meta Bug Bounty program is that we have taken efforts to understand some of the shortcomings of the current state of the bug bounty industry. We have invented unique payout systems that don't consider CVSS, but they use an impact-driven payout decision method, which prioritizes issues according to what Meta as a business cares about. Because it's our last line of defense, we understand why newer folks that enter into bug bounty feel like it's harder to find bugs these days. Because you have to find vulnerabilities that we couldn't prevent. We couldn't automatically even detect them. But hopefully, with the examples that I shared today, you will understand what sort of bugs are often missed by developers, and they can be very trivial to find. Let's talk some numbers. So the minimum payout that we offer in our bug bounty program is $500. The maximum payout can go up to $300,000. This is something that we offer for a mobile RCE. So if you find an RCE on any of our mobile apps, 0 click, that will be $300,000. So far, we have not paid this out yet, and I think that's a good thing. We were founded in 2011, that's 14 years ago, and since then, we have rewarded hackers $22 million. We understand, again, that certain bugs, they require a significant time investment to get familiar with our system and find a bug. Because of this, we try to be very competitive. We want to be one of the top paying programs in the industry. You can look at the scale here where it starts from 500 and goes all the way to 300K. All of these amounts, by the way, they are without bonuses. So we have a Hacker Plus program, which is like a loyalty program for people that hunt often on our program. And being a part of this Hacker Plus program, you can earn bonuses that can be up to 30% of the original bounty. Our goal is to be transparent with our researchers. We published our payout guidelines that we use internally to make a decision on what to pay, so that researchers know in advance, like a ballpark figure, what they're going to get paid for any vulnerability. This guarantees a fair system. We also welcome our researchers to come and dispute any payout. And again, with the payout guidelines being so publicly accessible, it makes these conversations a little more productive. Now you can see that the 5,000 bug and the 10,000 bug here, which is page admin disclosure and contact point de-anonymization, these are bugs that you won't really find on OWASP top 10, right? They're very specific to Facebook's privacy landscape. And let me give you an example, like an attack scenario. Page admin disclosure, it's a bug, again, that's super specific to Facebook. We have explicit payout guidelines to pay for these bugs because it affects the privacy of the user that is using the app. For example, an admin of an LGBTQIA plus page in a country where it's illegal to be gay can be badly affected if this bug was exploited against them. All the bugs that I will talk about today will be about the privacy of the end user of Instagram, which can be people like you and me. They're not technical bugs. You just need your phone, your laptop with the app, and that's it. So let me give you a quick introduction to Instagram for someone that doesn't know. Instagram is a social media platform. It's focused on photo and video sharing. Users can post pictures, videos, they can apply filters, they can share them publicly, or they can share them with specific followers. It also has some extended features like calling, messaging, extended features to support content creators. And it's currently supported as an app on Android and iOS, but you can also use it on the web just by going to www.instagram.com. Instagram also has two sister apps at the moment. Threads. Threads is a social media platform. It's focused on text-based sharing. So users can share their thoughts, parts of their lives via a primarily text-based medium. And lastly, there's an app called Edits, which is a new app. It heavily supports Instagram to help users trim their videos, add trending music, sound effects, apply filters, and share content to their Instagram that's visually appealing, so content creators can get more engagement on their content. Let's talk about the security and privacy landscape. Why Instagram? Instagram has a large attack surface for security research. It has so much functionality built in, like media sharing, media editing, calling, messaging, extended features like content scheduling and draft posts. And in this talk, we'll explore how you can find simple security and privacy bugs just by creatively interacting with the app. We don't want to rely on any tools. We want to think like a user of Instagram. We are looking for bugs that might impact the privacy of a user that's probably not that tech savvy. So after this talk, hopefully, the next time that you're using Instagram, you're going to keep your eyes out for any privacy controls that can be malfunctioning. And fun fact, all the bugs that we are going to discuss today, they're not one-off bugs. They're things that we've seen come in on the program as a report more than once. Maybe in a slightly different flavor, but they do happen more than once. No tools, no setup, all you need is the app. So let's get into the first bug. The first bug is on IG Lite. Trimming a muted reel leaks audio from the reel. The bounty that we paid out for this was $4,113. Let me explain to you what is IG Lite. IG Lite is a smaller, faster, and lighter version of the Instagram app. It's available on Android devices. Who is it designed for? It's designed for users that have old versions of devices with limited storage space. They probably live in countries where the internet connections are much slower, or places where data plans can be expensive because they are charged per megabyte. And IG Lite is designed to be smaller and faster, so it doesn't consume that much storage space or data, and it can be used by people living in those places. This is how you can edit a reel on Instagram. Reels are short form videos. They are typically less than 3 minutes. Short form started by it being 30 seconds and now it's 3 minutes, and soon enough it's going to be YouTube. But these are the reels. They're recorded vertically, and Instagram app allows you to edit this video within the app before you share. So you can add text, add music, trim the video, and so on. This is how the editing flow looks like. You upload the video, then you can click edit, and then you see like a somewhat complex looking editor where you can do what you want with the video, and then you click next, and then you proceed to upload the video. Instagram mainly offers this functionality so users don't need to rely on any third-party external apps to edit their videos. They can do everything within the Instagram app itself. Now let's look at the bug. So after trimming a muted reel in IG Lite, the first few seconds of the audio get unmuted, and this can lead to leaking of private audio. It ignores the privacy expectation that you have when you use the muting feature. I'll give you an attack scenario so you'll understand why this is a privacy concern. Like, let's say you want to upload a reel of a house that you are viewing. You will potentially rent that house. You click the mute button because details of the rent amount are being discussed in the background and you don't really want to share that. And you also trim the video because you only want to show a small snippet. You don't want to show the full video. But once you post it, the original video with the sound, with the rent details is getting leaked in the reel. This was something that was reported on the program, and we can look at a demo. I'm not sure why it's not working. I see it.
If we fix this, we get a bounty.
If you find this and you report it to us, you will. I will get into the bounty in a bit, but let's like visually take a look at how this looks like. Okay, yeah. So you start by uploading a video here. There's some sound. You trim the video. You only want to show a specific part. Okay. That's the trimmed video. Now you're going to click the mute button at the top. So the video is muted. You click next and then you upload it. Now we're going to go to the profile and try to refresh until our new post appears. This is not the new one. Okay, there it is. Click on it. And it still has the sound. Now, that's where the privacy flaw is. Getting the mouse back here. Let me explain to you what our team thought about when we were deciding on a payout for this one. So our team decided on a base reward of $3,500 because of the impact that this was allowing for leaking private audio, and also because of how trivial it was for users to be affected by this bug when they were publishing videos on IG Lite. In addition to the base reward, we issued a $263 Hacker Plus League bonus. The researcher was in the silver league of our program, so they received a 1.075x multiplier on their original reward. We also issued delay bonuses when the bounty payment was delayed. We calculate this difference between the payout time and between the time that the researcher provided us every single detail to reproduce this bug. In this case, the payout was made after 90 days of the researcher giving all the details to us. So they got a 10% bonus on the original payout amount. This is how it ended up being $4,113. Now let's go to the second bug. This bug was on the Instagram app for iOS only. When you forward one image, it ends up forwarding additional images. We'll get into some more context, but the bounty for this was $5,500. Now, let's go through a little bit about how the Instagram DM feature works and what happens when you receive multiple images from a friend. So there are two ways that you can view media that you share in an Instagram DM. Let's say you receive 5 or 6 pictures from your friend at once. So these images will be sent as piles. You can click on the first image and then you can swipe through and view all the other images. That's the first way to view it. When you are in this media viewer, in the first one, the forward button is not shown to you at all, so you cannot forward it. But the second way you can view all the media that's shared in a DM is by clicking on the person's profile, scrolling down, and then you find all the images that are shared by both of you in the chat. Now, when you are in this viewer, and if you select one of the images that your friend sent you out of those 5 and 6, you will see the forward button. Then you can choose to forward only one image to another friend of yours. But once you do that, what ended up happening was that all images sent by your first friend were sent to this other friend. Now, this is a privacy concern because the user expects only one image to be forwarded, but they unintentionally end up sharing all the 6 images instead. And I'll give you an attack scenario again so you'll understand why this is a problem. Let's say my brother sends me 5 or 6 images from our family trip to New York City. Only one of those pictures is a picture of me in front of the 9/11 memorial or Statue of Liberty or whatever, and the rest are all with my family members. I tap on his username at the top of the chat, I click on the solo picture of me, and then I forward it to my colleague who lives in NYC. My colleague then ends up receiving all the images that my brother sent me, including the ones that are with my family members that I did not want to share. Let's see how this was escalated and fixed. This was escalated as a SEV1, that's the highest level of SEV we have. And it was quickly mitigated by blocking multi-image forwarding server-side as a fix. So as I mentioned earlier, that from the first view, it was not supported. All we had to do was disable the forwarding feature in the other view when you went from the profile. So today, right now, if you try to forward one image from a multi-image thread by going to this profile, it will fail forwarding that image. It will not work. Let's go to the payout breakdown and what our team thought about when we were deciding the payout. Our team decided on a base reward of $5,000 because of the impact that this was allowing for sharing images with an audience that you did not intend to share. Same as the previous one, we took into consideration that the reproduction steps for these, this was very trivial. Users were unintentionally sharing media, even if it was to an intended audience. In addition to the base reward, there was a $250 Hacker Plus league bonus, which was 1.05x of the original bounty. Delay bonus here was 5%. The difference in the time when the researcher provided all the details to us versus when we issued the payout was after 30 days, but less than 60 days. So that's how we ended up with the 5% amount. And that made the total bounty $5,500. Next bug. This one was on Instagram app for Android as well as iOS. It was about drafted scheduled reels getting posted immediately after editing. The bounty for this was $5,250. Let's understand what the drafting and scheduling features do on Instagram first. It's basically for times when you're not quite ready to publish something. Like this is all the drafts that I have saved for me, for example, from June and July. I'm not ready to post them yet, so I saved them as drafts. Then I also have a scheduling feature. Maybe I want to post something tomorrow at noon because that's when my followers are most active, but I'm going to be at work. I'm not going to be able to post it then. So I schedule it to be posted. Now I'll give you an attack scenario of how this bug worked so you'll understand. Now, imagine Taylor Swift's assistant is using Instagram app on iOS. She wants to schedule a reel for Taylor Swift's unreleased song. She uploads the reel, she clicks on more options, she schedules the reel for the date when the song is going to be released. Then she saves the reel as a draft. Later, she opens the reel, she clicks the edit button because she wants to add some text to it. Then she opens the more options again and just confirms that the reel is still scheduled. She clicks post and the reel gets posted instantly despite the scheduling. And now Taylor Swift's unreleased song is leaked. Let's look at a demo of how this worked. This is the video submitted by the researchers, so excuse the pictures if they are weird. So same as before, you start by uploading something. You're scheduling it. And then you save draft. Now you open your drafts, click on edit. And you're going to be adding some text or just maybe editing it. You're double checking that this is scheduled, and then you click the schedule button down there. And you can see it's being shared instantly, despite them clicking schedule. This one was escalated as a SEV3 with the product teams that work on this product. And I have some more technical details here of what was the root cause of this problem. Basically, when you save something as a draft and you go back to edit it, then Instagram app loses the mapping between the scheduled metadata and the draft itself. So Instagram doesn't know anymore that it's scheduled media. The fix here was just to make sure that as you go through the different flows, we always have the mapping type or to which media is to the type of media, which in this case, the media type is scheduled. And you can see we added two separate fixes, one on Android, one on iOS, just to make sure that we have correct metadata about the draft, like it being scheduled. Payout decision for this one, our team decided on a base reward of $5,000 due to the impact that this was prematurely publishing a user's content despite the scheduling feature being used. We took into consideration that this affected both Android and iOS. And although it required some specific actions like opening the reel and adding some text, we don't believe that these actions are unnatural because the user is pretty likely to do these actions. But the payout can be lower if you need more weird actions. In addition to the base reward, there was a $250 Hacker Plus Bronze League bonus, and that's how we ended up with $5,250. This is the last bug that I have for you today. This affected all Instagram platforms. It was the ability to remain hidden and unremovable in someone's close friends list. And the bounty for this was $525. For those who don't know the close friends feature on Instagram, let me explain to you how it works. So you create a list, you add people to this list. So you can share stories, you can share reels and posts only with these specific people. Maybe you don't want to share it with everyone. People on your close friends list, they cannot see who else is on that list unless someone is interacting, liking, commenting, and so on. So only you know who's on this list, and you can remove and add people whenever you want. Now I'll give you an attack scenario, how this worked. So let's say I add my boyfriend to my close friends list on Instagram, but then we break up. My boyfriend then converts his account into a professional Instagram user account. Why does he do that? Because professional Instagram users or businesses, as we call them, they can set a minimum age on their account. This is for cases when the content might not be appropriate for a certain age group. Like let's say an Instagram account for an alcohol brand, they will restrict their age to be to only appear for users that are above 21. So my boyfriend converts his account to a professional Instagram user account. He goes to settings, business tools and controls, minimum age. He sets the minimum age of his account to be 25. Then I add a close friend story. I open the close friends list and I cannot see his account because I'm not 25, I'm under 25. I check from settings, close friends, I still cannot see, I still cannot remove the account. let's look at a demo of how this worked. So first you have to add the person to your close friends list. You switch into the person who's been added to the close friends. You go to business tools and controls. You have a setting for minimum age. You switch back into the victim's account. You try to see who's in your close friends, and you're not going to be able to see this person's account. There also is an option that we give called clear all, which also won't solve the problem. Yeah, you basically can't see them anywhere, but the attacker can see you. And you can stay there forever. There's just no way to remove this person. This one was escalated as a SEV 2 with our product teams. The root cause of this problem was that because of the age gating, you did not have permission to see the user. However, in some special flows, you should be able to see the user. For example, when they are in your close friends list. And that's the issue. The fix for this was to add a thing called privacy access token, which temporarily gives you additional permissions. So in this specific flow, you have the permission to bypass the age gating, and you can see limited information about a user that you usually won't be able to see. We also added this logic to allow users to remove deactivated users from their close friends list, because you could have a deactivated user in your list, not be able to see them when their account is deactivated. However, they could bring their account back, deactivate it over and over again, and continue to monitor you. So yeah, that's the fix of adding the privacy access token to be able to view age-gated users in this specific flow. The payout decision for this. Our team decided on a base reward of $500, which, as I mentioned before, that's our minimum bounty that we give. This is considerably lesser in severity and reward because of two things. One, the attacker in this case needs to be added to the close friends list in the first place. This reduces the scope of the attack. And secondly, the victim needs to be under 25 years of age. You can't add a minimum age that's over 25 on Instagram. So this won't work with a victim who is over 25. So, if you want to solve this problem, just grow up. Lastly, I want to highlight some benefits that we offer if you are a loyal person that's hacking on our program. Our program was made with researchers in mind. We want to reward your efforts in helping make Meta apps and services more secure. So you have different leagues, starting with bronze. It depends on how many reports you submit, how many valid reports you submit, how much noise you create versus how many valid reports you have. And as you can see, the multiplier bonus for the bounty increases as you climb up the leagues. You get access to private bounties. Private bounties are things we do for sometimes unreleased features. We give access to some of our trusted researchers to test before we release them. You get swag as you go along, and you also can get access to our live hacking events that we do once a year, which this year it was in Tokyo. And you also can be invited to DEF CON with us. Yeah, pretty much same as I said before. Yeah, so we have coupons. if you come and talk to me after this, I can give you a coupon which can get you a bonus if you submit a valid bug to Meta for the first time. Just come find me after this, and I will. I just solved some internet issues on my laptop right now, so I might not have it immediately, but I can take your contact and I will definitely reach out to you with those coupons. And I want to open for questions, but before that, these are my social handles. I post educational cybersecurity content on Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, X. So find me, follow me, connect with me, and I will open for questions now.
So those were four really interesting examples that you picked. Do you know off the top of your head how many were submitted in that time frame? Like valid bugs?
I think these have been over the last year. But like I said, these issues occur more than once. For example, for the issues about the trimming and muting reels, we even published a public payout guideline on what kind of we think when we submit this, because we get a lot of those. So that one is more compared to the others. The forwarding one and the age gating one, I think we've got like 2 or 3 times. Yeah, but the trimming and muting ones, those are the ones we get a lot. Yeah.
When they submit the bug, do they also submit the reasoning for why they think it's a problem? Like, do the people submitting the bugs at all influence your decision on the severity?
No, so they don't really know what's happening in the background. We do root cause analysis when we find a bug because it's easier for us to look into the code and find where the problem is. We can use our debugger, set breakpoints, and kind of figure out where the problem is happening. But the researcher, they just literally submit like the behavior to us, that this is what they did, step 1, 2, 3, and something unexpected happened. So yeah, that's what they submit to us. Yeah.
So I imagine, privacy is very important in the line of work that you do. And I was curious, are there particular bugs that you've come across where you at first didn't think that it was privacy impacting, but after more conversation with the researcher, you discovered like, oh wow, this is a really novel privacy implication that I hadn't thought of at first. And I wondered if you might be willing to share some of those.
I think every example I mentioned, they were all sort of novel to us at first. We never thought that the scheduling feature would have a problem, or that the minimum age could be abused to hide in someone's follower list or close friends list. So they're all sort of novel to us. Also, Instagram as an app is releasing a lot of new features all the time. And to answer your question about whether it turns out to be something bigger than what they initially reported, I think that happens more with the technical security bugs and not so much with these. With these, they kind of look as they are, and they are what they are. The only thing we could find more from this was, like, let's say you submitted this on Android, but I realize it affects iOS and it affects all platforms. So that's kind of the maximum with these ones. If you want to maximize impact, and when we look for more impact internally from your bugs, it's going to be more of the technical security bugs and not these. Yeah.
I'm just curious, like, what is the relative share of like technical security versus privacy bugs that you deal with?
It's hard to put a number off the top of my head. I would say for every 10 bugs we receive, 6 of them are going to be like privacy. Yeah.
Is it all bugs, or is it just specific to privacy and security?
For this one, the 10 bugs, yeah, for like every 10 valid reports we receive, 6 of them are going to be very much privacy focused and very specific to Meta and to Instagram and Facebook's threat model, and not something that you'll find in the OWASP top 10. And the other 4, they might be something you find in the OWASP top 10. All right, thank you, everyone.
much.